Modern digital social life is exhausting. Most of us are navigating an ecosystem driven by infinite algorithmic scrolls and constant metric anxiety. Look at this comparison chart. The left side outlines what we call performative connectivity. Because these platforms rely on broadcast mechanisms and behavioral profiling, they force users to perform for an audience rather than actually connect. This infographic visualizes a central psychological thesis. An honest emotional practice cannot happen under surveillance. Privacy is a strict requirement for growth. If you feel you are being watched or monetized, you will always curate your behavior. To counter this, you need the digital equivalent of a vault, a quiet room, a space completely severed from the noise of public feeds. That is exactly what DunbarrioSolo is designed to be. It is a radically private emotional skills practice tool. This schematic details the exact cryptographic boundaries that define the application. It secures journal entries with AES 256 encryption. There are 0 ad networks, no public follower counts, and a complete absence of a social graph. Returning to our comparison, the right side summarizes the solution. The antidote to public performance is finite friction and data sovereignty, a structurally secure, private room where you are the customer, not the product. Infinite scale damages relationships because human attention is physically limited. To map true social boundaries, an application requires finite friction. This diagram visualizes the science behind this limit. Dunbar's layers establish a cognitive ceiling of 150 relationships, scaling outward in tiers. Crucially, a 2025 +1 study reveals energy heterogeneity. We distribute relational care with profound asymmetry, not treating every contact equally. To operationalize this finding, DunbarrioSolo uses this activity heat map, known as the ledger. It explicitly tracks where your care actually flows, logging your app sessions, writing streaks, and manual out-of-app connection events like phone calls and visits. By tracking these historically invisible acts of care, you generate an empirical, private mirror. You can finally see your true social investment over time without relying on public leaderboards. Rather than shouting into a public void, the core mechanic of the app is the embrace, directed, private expressive writing aimed at a specific person in your life. This interface shows the written text anchored to a specific character. It's built on the Pennebaker paradigm, a body of clinical research proving that directed journaling generates measurable improvements in emotional regulation. This theoretical illustration explains the anchor itself. Over 26 character mascots, like this capybara, bridge the gap between internal emotion and external reality. Clinically, these act as Winnicott's transitional objects, secure proxies carrying the emotional weight of real-world relationships without risk of immediate judgment. An embrace requires 2 mandatory secondary inputs. This technical diagram shows how you must physically interact with a rotary mood dial based on Plutchik's wheel of emotions, and set an effort level using the 0 to 100% vertical slider. This specific tactile requirement forces a conscious choice. You have to select a precise emotional label and a physical intensity level, which actively trains emotional granularity. The combination of directed expressive writing and precise emotional tagging physically trains the brain to differentiate feelings. That exact differentiation is proven to lower distress and improve your overall psychological regulation. Over 7 days, you generate a highly sensitive data set of ledger entries and emotional coordinates. The app then processes this information to provide reflective feedback. This data flow graphic shows the AI synthesis engine at work. It ingests 4 distinct multimodal inputs: your selected moods, your energy levels, your written embraces, and your ledger data, feeding them all into a central geometric core. This process operates under strict security boundaries, outlined in this linear diagram. The system uses ephemeral AI. It processes the text locally, generates a response, and then executes an immediate memory wipe to ensure radical privacy. The output of this ephemeral process is the weekly weave, shown here in the narrative portrait UI. It detects your relational patterns to provide a dominant archetype for the week and offers a growth edge, a direct, honest behavioral observation. The ultimate goal of all this solo practice is not permanent isolation. This graphic maps the boundary of practice. It highlights a critical step called graduation, a collectively voted rite of passage. Here, you transition from a private, solo practice into a shared state of communal governance. You spend time building your strength in the security of the quiet room. Once you map the true limits of your relational energy in private, you are finally equipped to step out and show up authentically for your real-world community.